Well, coming up on today's show, Tesla are on target for their quarterly goals. The new Honda Urban EV has been illustrated and it's coming. Oh, and we're introduced to something called brand-based driving pleasure. I'll fill you in a moment. Well, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily for Saturday the 29th of September 2018. It's Martyn Lee here, and I've been through every EV story today, so you don't have to. Well, thank you to myev.com for helping make the show. They've built the first marketplace specifically for EVs. It's totally free to buy and sell and learn and research about EVs as well. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you know what to do over the weekend. Well, I'll start off with the one big story today that, for better or worse, I'm going to leave alone. It broke. The story of the SEC initiating legal proceedings against Elon Musk broke after I'd recorded yesterday's show, which is why it wasn't on that. And now, 24 hours later, when I've digested it all, it just becomes a matter for due process, and it doesn't need me commenting on it. So I'll tell you why I'm not going to cover that story in case you were wondering why. It's very prominent, and that's the reason for, firstly, because you don't need me chipping in. Check out Rob Maurer's podcast for a pragmatic take on the numbers side of it, if you're interested in all the kind of stock market side, which I'm not. Everyone is an armchair expert suddenly at corporate governance, I noticed on the internet today. Everyone's cropping up and saying they know exactly what will be happening with the result of this case. Wonderful. And I prefer to stay in my lane, thirdly, and politics to me are a sideshow from the main event, which is building great cars and you and I driving them and enjoying them. And I've said before, I'm a cheerleader for EVs and I spend a lot of time evangelizing about them. I don't want to spend too long on the negative side of it, of any negative stories really, and speculating about something that I'm not an expert in. So the internet has plenty of those. You'll know them when you see them over the next few days of people speculating and coming across as experts when they're not, and we'll let them get on with it. My one comment that I will allow myself to share with you is this. Remember the influence and the finance of the oil industry and the vested interests beyond that which Elon is disrupting with his plan for a better future for all of us. Those interests spread very deep and very wide. And these are people who aren't going to go down without a fight and trying everything they can. But look, you and I, we know we're on the right side of history when all this shakes out. And that's why I know we'll win. I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about things like court cases. Let's talk about the cars. Let's talk about how Tesla, this news has been overshadowed, Tesla are on target for a mind-blowingly good quarter. Whenever I take a step back and think about it and just have one of those quiet moments when you just try and take stock, really, Tesla is a new car company in the grand scheme of things. Tesla is still a new car company, and they are on track in July, August, September to make 50,000 Model 3s. That would be 200,000 a year if you extrapolate it out at a linear rate, and we know that they are improving quickly. Add on 100,000 Model S and X's, add on a gigafactory that's making 20 gigawatt hours of batteries per year, soon to be 35 gigawatt hours per year. Can you imagine how insanely hard that is? It's massively impressive. Electrek report a reliable source, they say, with knowledge of the matter. This quarter, Model 3 production, they say, has just tipped over 51,000 of them made. And there's 2 days of the quarter to go. And if they keep up this current rate over the weekend, they could well hit 80,000 cars made in 3 months alone. Mind properly blown. Well done, Tesla. For everybody who works in the company, whether you're the CEO, who I'm 100% sure doesn't listen to this podcast, or whether you are connected with the company at any level. And if you do listen to this podcast and you're in any way connected, a massive congratulations to you. We do appreciate your hard work and everything that you are doing for a better future. And congratulations on another incredible quarter. Here comes profitability, eh? Well, let's stay with the good news. Inside EVs have now finally got all of the August numbers. They take a while to come in. The plug-in numbers for August, the best-selling model for the month, is the Tesla Model 3, with a record 18,300 estimated in the month alone, because of course Tesla don't release their monthly sales figures. The massive figure of 18,300 in a month will enable it to take the lead for the year too, with about 60,000 of them sold in 8 months. No other model even comes close to the Model 3 now. It means the Nissan Leaf is down to second place for the year so far, with 56,000 sales, and just 7,000 in August, and 7 and a bit in August. And the third is in China, the BAIC EC series. That's got 43,000 and about 434 sold for the year, and about 3,000 for the month of August, which is expected to accelerate later this year with the release of a new version. I'll put a link to the Inside EVs article in the show notes. So Tesla on about 115,000 year to date, BYD on about 110, BAIC on 78,000. I thought it would take a lot longer for the Chinese companies to be toppled. However, they've done it. Well, Elon Musk has asked Tesla employees to test what the company has billed as full self-driving capability. And it's dangling a bit of a carrot, actually. $13,000 in savings to entice them to help out, according to Dana Hull, who writes for Bloomberg. Elon wrote in an email, which was seen by Bloomberg News, that Tesla needed about 100 more employees to join in on an internal testing program, which is linked to the rolling out of the full self-driving capability. So, any worker who takes Elon up on the offer, buys a Tesla, and agrees to share up to 400 hours of driving feedback with the company's autopilot team by the end of next year, won't have to pay for full self-driving. That saves $8,000, or for a premium interior, which normally costs $5,000, Elon Musk wrote. And Dana was on Bloomberg telling us a little bit more.
So Tesla's current system, which is called autopilot, is a driver assistance system. And Tesla has a lot of miles on autopilot under its belt. So that's really valuable data that they can use, but they are not by any means driving full self-driving yet. And I think that the hype around self-driving exceeds where the technology is at the moment. There's a lot of horse race about who's ahead and who's behind. Everyone is trying to get this right. It's better to be safe than sorry. Everyone needs to do a ton of testing. I mean, I see the cars driving around San Francisco all the time. I think the fact that Tesla now feels like they've got this chip that is capable is a positive development, but they're asking employees to, agree to test for 300 to 400 hours by the end of next year. I mean, that's still a significant amount of testing that needs to be done.
Now, there is a lady and a journalist who I admire from afar and always has interesting things to say about Tesla, and when it's critical, comes in for a barrage of abuse from people on Twitter, and when she's complimentary, comes in for a barrage of abuse from people on Twitter. She really can't win whatever she writes, whether it's a critical piece or whether it's a piece. Like today, I saw that she was writing about this story about Tesla employees taking on some self-driving testing, which means obviously the technology is improving, and just accused of, you're just pumping the stock, and Tesla are feeding you stories, and you think, you can't win. You cannot win. So it's always good to have somebody giving us the news like that. When Honda showed off the Urban EV at the Frankfurt's 2017 show, they said they wanted to make it. And I must admit, my cynic gene kicked in, because the kind of concepts, when they're as stunning as the little cute Urban EV, they always get watered down. But no, Honda were deadly serious. It's the city car that's full of personality and is said to be a few months away from going into production. Now, we don't have any official pictures from Honda, so Motor One have mocked up what it could look like if the look of the concept is generally preserved. Several elements have been retouched. The Urban EV that they've illustrated forgets the two large suicide doors. Yeah, I think that was a concept car kind of thing, to adopt 4 normal doors opening in a conventional way and have flush handles. It also abandons the side cameras in favour of traditional mirrors. Another thing that many concept cars over the years have come with is side cameras, but mirrors being replaced on the illustration here by Motor One. More conventional wheels, new shield incorporating a lower grid. In addition, it's content with a metal logo at the front and not lit up and bright, and abandons the load indicators placed on the side walls. The 2 round headlights that really do give it some of that personality, look like little eyes, and the boss on the bonnet is still part of the illustrations they've done. Let's hope that they can get it looking something like this, because I think it's a fantastic looking car. Well, storage capacity further increased in the BMW i3 today. A little press release dropped into my inbox. I woke up to that. I woke up to a lot of news, actually, what with all of the Elon stuff breaking US time, but in the middle of the night here. So woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, UK time, which is midnight East Coast and 9 p.m. Pacific time, and so my inbox was full of things. And also, by the way, I should add, yesterday's podcast very helpfully uploaded 43 seconds of itself and no more. So if you were wondering, by the way, why there was only 43 seconds of the first podcast, yes, after a couple of hours of me scratching my head, I then republished it, and it was fine. Well, this BMW press release that dropped in was all about the BMW i3, and they are increasing the battery capacity in it, further increasing it and doubling it since the BMW i3 first launched. The press release says that the operating range for locally emissions-free mobility, that's a catchy phrase, isn't it, is increased to as much as 260 kilometres in everyday driving conditions without any loss of brand-based driving pleasure. Who writes this? Certainly not any normal human being. I mean, some of my closest colleagues at work, actually, I sit one side of marketing and the other side, very close. I work with the PR people. And so I know what PR people write in press releases, but seriously, brand-based driving pleasure. Come on. Additional new features, sports package for the i3, new colours, and they go on to say that it's consolidating, the BMW i3 consolidating its position as an innovation leader and a trendsetter in the field of pioneering electromobility. End quote. I wonder if they really believe that, or whether it's just a set of words that look really quite good. I mean, they're all the right buzzwords, aren't they? Innovation, electromobility, trendsetter. I mean, they're all the right words, and they're formed into a sentence, but it's a sentence that's, with respect, not true. BMW is not consolidating its position. It's not an innovation leader. It's not really a trendsetter in the field of electric cars, and it's not really pioneering electromobility. They make wonderful BMW i3s, and the plug-ins they make as well of the i8. Holy moly, the i8, what a car! But you can't say that of all the electric cars on planet Earth, that when you say to people, which one's out front, they go, you know what, the BMWs are. I mean, look, they're great, but they're not exactly at the front of the queue. Well, since the market launch, they say of the BMW i3, the storage capacity of its batteries doubled, increasing the car's range as well. At the same time, the introduction of the new battery, a new body finish is being introduced, a new colour for the optional interior design loft, and adaptive LED headlights with a matrix function for the high beam, also available now for both the i3 and the i3S. That's the newer, sportier one that we had a year ago. In future, a sports package available for the bog standard i3 that includes a black wheel arch surround, sport suspension, very specific dampers and springs and stabilisers, some lowered suspension as well, a widened track, and a 20-inch light alloy wheel. Sounds like they are doing the BMW i3S treatment on the i3 with all of that, apart from perhaps the kind of motor upgrades that you get as well. Well, moving on, and finally today, this year's the 20th anniversary of the smart car brand, which these days is all electric and soon to be Mercedes EQ branded, if it's not already. Smart today unveiled the Smart Forease concept, and it's going to make its debut at the Paris Motor Show next week. Press day starts 2nd of October. We'll bring you all the news. While much of the current smart design language is tucked away in there, they took a different approach and chopped the roof off. And it isn't hiding anywhere. They've just chopped the roof off. You better hope you live somewhere sunny, reports CNET. As with every other smart currently on sale outside of Europe, the 4E's concept is entirely electric. It's a two-seater based on the production Smart EQ 4.2, using a single 80 horsepower electric motor with an EPA range of 58 miles. Great little city car, great little beach car, great fun car for two people. It doesn't have a roof, and so maybe a little bit more lightweight. Maybe you get another couple of miles out of chopping the roof off. Please do not try this with your own EV at home to get some more range. You'll need the roof. Well, thank you very much to everyone that's answered question of the week so far. You've got one more day to answer question of the week. Keep your comments coming in. Here it is. How do you charge at home? What charger have you got? Who installed it? And was it something that came with a new car, or did you arrange it yourself? And if you want to share, and you haven't got to, how much did it cost? And did you get any incentives? Thank you very much to the 85 patrons of this show, whose generosity means I get to make it, you get to listen. And if you'd like to become one of them, I'd love you to join the list at patreon.com/evnewsdaily. Those supporting at $10 or more a month, the executive producers of this show include, well, actually, Phil Roberts and Future Electric is a big partner of this show, and we're looking forward to working very closely with Phil. Thank you very much for your continued support. Cesar Trujillo, David Allen, Sasha Pallenberg. Hello to Damien. Hello to Louis Hopkin, Ashley Hill, Bjard Fuchstak, Chris Benson, Chris Hopkins, Darren Bird, our newest member of the gang, David Partington, David Prescott, John Bailey, John H. Mayer III, John Timmis, Marcel Lohman, Marcel Ward, Martin Croft, Matthew Ellis, Matthew Groby, Neil E. Roberts, Paul Seeger-Smith, Philippe Calvet, Rod James, Scott Callahan, and the team at the Limousine Line Sydney. Thank you very much for joining that ledger of legends. Well, there are 249 episodes of this podcast online for free. You can download that from all the usual places you get your podcasts from. And there's a blog at evnewsdaily.com. If you subscribe at executive producer level or more, you get your Saturday bonus episode just for you. I'll be making that one in a few hours' time. That'll be on later on Sunday on Patreon only. In the meantime, catch up on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.